This is the Leaf Cape unlock animation, and I'm excited, but I'm also enjoying the rest of the server as it is. This is my best Sands of Time game so far, for example, and after hours of playing, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's the best minigame from the post-Legacy Console Edition era, and honestly, this lobby as a whole is the closest thing Mojang have made to that, so is this a sign they're bringing back minigames after 6 years? Let's dive deep on that while going through Minecraft's 7th live event server. This is something they have done ever since 2022 to try and get people engaged with a big event, and so you can obviously see the first one was the boss vote, a test for the mob vote, which happened a few weeks later, and then they did one in 2023 too, but these don't really count as servers in my opinion. You could already do the exact same thing from the Minecraft launcher, and that's what many Minecraft Java players did, and so really we have 4 separate live events. The Minecraft Legends one was just as popular as Legends itself, Trails and Tales was a surprisingly fun and well put together one, and the Universal Studio event was also pretty fun, but it just felt so corporate. It's advertising Universal movies everywhere at you, and even though you're unlocking emotes and there's some fun things to do, it just felt like, please go engage with our corporate sponsor of the day. It felt like a weird test for something I'm not necessarily a fan of, whereas the MCC Minecraft 15th anniversary party was the exact opposite. This is a fun enough server that you could enjoy spending time on by itself. It's got some great mini games, which some people enjoy. It's advertising only an event that lots of people already care about, especially Java players, the MCC Cup that is, and then finally they have a cape to unlock, something which you know you will want in the rest of the game. This is the gold standard, not just for how to do a server so far, but also on how to unlock a cape. Obviously there are some criticisms too, there's some things that aren't so great here, but I want to just say that as far as these live events go, they've gone from being a weird distraction, a thing worth checking out if you're already playing Bedrock, to something that I think would genuinely draw over, and has drawn over, a lot of Java players. I can personally say this because I have YouTuber friends who only play the Java edition of the game, who are explicitly logging on every single day to get their cave challenge done. That is something which is impressive to be able to say, and so why is it that way? Well, first it should be mentioned that 4J Studios, who made the classic minigame, obviously made it in-house as a first party, but this was made by a third party, Nox Crew. Minecraft, or Mojang, decided to outsource this. They have hundreds of employees, but they clearly decided that it would be better off if they used some outside sources, and honestly, based on the results, I don't blame them for this, but it means that any credit we give in this video is actually going to Nox Crew, the people who made the map and made the minigames. Obviously, Mojang sets up the infrastructure and the button in the game and the cape that goes on later, but it is Nox Crew who made the creative elements, which are some of the very best bits. I have to say that I really enjoyed at least a couple of these minigames to a degree that I could come back and play again and again and again. If they made more Sands of Time maps, I would be coming back every single week to try out the new ones, because there's just such an addictive quality to this in a way that no other map or minigame server has done yet. It could just be that this one perfectly hits the speedrunner in me, but I also thought Ace Race was very good, it has to be said, and so I think we should make a quick comparison to 4J, since we just mentioned them anyway, and that is to say that anyone who isn't familiar might not know, but the console edition of Minecraft actually had its own miniature server system. There were obviously no online servers that you could connect to or make for yourself, and so to make up for this, 4J Studios made minigames. They were called Battle and Glide and Tumble, and they allowed you to play online with other people from the same console, and one of the fun parts of this is that while you're waiting to play these games, there was a minigame lobby. This was something a lot of people enjoyed, and one of the fun things that you might not be familiar with at this point is the fact that they made a second minigame lobby, and there was an Easter egg to go underneath the fountain and find the first one down there. That was one of the coolest discoveries, and it should be worth mentioning that there were other fun things, such as mob heads to be obtained, and there was bow practice, and all these other little activities to keep you entertained in this transitional space before you went to your minigame. Something that I would say the Nox Crew main live server event is actually getting better at doing too. By the way, something I want to mention is I love the fact that when you go up some of these fountains, you'll find things like iron leggings. I was shocked to find the iron boots for the first time, and I want to mention that because I think that's one of the fun bits of Sands of Time that it almost kind of takes from the minigame lobby too. I think the feeling of exploration and discovery is something that can only really happen when something is somewhat new, but it really creates this fun actual shared space in Minecraft. Oftentimes it is said that Minecraft is a game that is, more multiplayer than single player, and I disagree with this vehemently. Minecraft is a single player game that just happens to have a multiplayer, but outside of the Java edition, where you could argue there's one big server that basically everyone knows, there isn't really a shared multiplayer space for everyone who plays Minecraft. It's one of the interesting things about the game, right, is we have all of these things in common, but we're all doing it in quite different worlds, in our own little spaces, if you will, and so it's really cool to have a shared space in that way. It's not going to overtake how long I spend in my own survival world, of course, or across single player as a whole, but I love the idea of having one of these things running so you can do that. In a way, this is almost more of a failure of the featured Minecraft servers, because any one of those could have done that, but none of them really have succeeded with it in the way that this has, and that is something which is wonderful by itself, and which gets me excited for future Minecraft events. Unless they go very, very heavy on the marketing angle and cut back the budget for actually making fun things, I feel like you could do an event like this every single year and have people actively look forward to it, and that is a good thing that Minecraft needs more of. More and more, they are leaning into Minecraft exciting events that actually go by something else. Again, the fact that they announced a Minecraft knitting kit, but it's over $100, you know, they're doing these huge events that are basically, would you like to buy some Minecraft stuff? I've got to give credit to the Minecraft social media people, because it's really hard to keep hype for a game that has one big update every single year, one big event that people care about, and then has to work out what to do for the other 11 months and several weeks. And so the second biggest event in the Minecraft calendar year is probably Minecraft Live, and the biggest reason that people go there is to hear about the next big update. And so what if they could have another exciting event each year? I think that that could come in the form of a cape that comes from a server, and as long as that server is fun each time and builds on the last one, I think that they could actually make a second or third most exciting event, and because they are outsourcing it, it doesn't actually take that much more effort. This is the big struggle Minecraft is trying to deal with. It's something the marketplace is basically there to try and solve for them, is to try and have more exciting things for players without actually having to make those, because development time is expensive, and if you're in a big company, it's hard to actually hire that number of people, and then if you ever let them go, it becomes a big controversy, and so all of the other benefits, it becomes very, very expensive to actually develop games in the traditional way, and so any way that you can do it in a slightly cheaper way is something that I think is always going to be exciting for big companies, and maybe that's a cynical way to view this, but I think that that is at least the win-win aspect of it. Mojang doesn't have to hire new people, but at the same time, they get a very exciting event with very, very big rewards, and I think that Sands of Time is a perfect example of something that comes out of this fun process. I don't think that this could work by itself if it was going to be in anything Minecraft-based game, or even any Minecraft server, because there is no way that you can really monetize this game. That's a bold claim, but think about how every single Minecraft server or map works. They either charge you for access in the first place, or they charge you for some form of premium rank, or premium gear, or some form of boost, or some form of cosmetic, and if you could pay for a boost in this, then I don't think it wouldn't be as fun. It would lose its joy. No one's going to pay for a cosmetic because it's mostly single player. You sometimes see other people, but not enough to want to pay real world money for that, and so as a result, you get really trapped in a world where none of the ways of monetizing it make sense, and so Mojang spends tens of thousands of dollars and doesn't get any money back, except to them that's actually a very good return. They spend a lot of money hosting this and paying for it to be built, but then people come on board, and for them it's a very cheap marketing expense, and I think that it's very rare in the tech world that you get such an easy win that doesn't come with some huge downside to come with it, right? People talk about enshittification. It's basically the idea, in my opinion, that we're being squeezed by tech companies to try and make back their investment that they made by giving out so many freebies a long time ago. It's rare that you actually just get to enjoy the freebie of, oh yeah, here is someone paying someone else to make a really high quality thing that you get to enjoy, and Sands of Time is a high quality thing. It's as good as any LCE minigame in my opinion. It obviously isn't quite as replayable as any of the console edition minigames, because mainly the fact that it has one map, and that one map is perfectly fixed in place, but it's such a joy to go from going in your first time and being like, oh, there's coin piles and there's a chest and you can unlock it, and trying your best just to kind of explore as much as you can in that time, to eventually realizing that, oh, there's different paths, you can go down those, and you start getting a few hundred coins because you work out a good path, to suddenly, oh, if you just can go from sand to sand quickly, you get 10 seconds, but that's just enough to reach the next sand, so you can start to collect thousands of coins, and then eventually you come to realize you can get every single key in this place if you just get the perfect run. Interestingly, this means that I think the best way to optimize it as a game would probably be to add more random paths and more random events, make it so you can't perfectly complete it and have a full 60 seconds left over. Again, I had time just to start killing enemies to try and get a few extra coins here, because I do collect every single coin pile that exists in the map as best as I can tell, and even all of the armor. The armor just comes along with coins and sand. It wouldn't be worth getting by itself. It's not that you're being hit too much, but it's so cool when you discover these little things, and I feel like this feeling of discovery as you're trying to optimize it is what makes it so fun. It is something that makes you think like, oh yeah, if there was just slightly different variants, if there was something that was different each time, you would try to perfect it. realizing that this path right here, for example, I've kind of, you know, you can just run across it and avoid the sand, and it takes 3 or 4 seconds, whereas getting the sand takes closer to 10. Is it worth doing that? You know, there's all sorts of fun questions you start to answer. There's all sorts of fun parkours that you don't notice at first, and then later realize, like, oh, you could totally do this, and wow, there's some sand and some pots, and you can't get anything from them. But you get the idea that the feeling of discovery and the feeling of mixing parkour with the tiniest bit of combat, but really perfectly optimizing movement, just feels so good, and that's what I really love about this one. I think that this really is a breath of fresh air, and it technically existed in the MCC server event before, but they changed it into something entirely new here, something which I think is way more fun than anything I've seen elsewhere. So I would love to see, you know, some version of this in the future, or something that takes from this if they ever make more future minigames. I would also really just love to see it, but with some, you know, different maps, some different variants. I think that if they wanted to hold a server for more weeks and have people kind of coming back and being excited, you could have, in the same way they have daily events with the cave, you could have it be that, yeah, in the middle of the event, once a week, all of the maps change for this and for Ace Race, which is obviously the second but best minigame in my opinion. I think Grid Runners and I think Meltdown might be really great if you're, you know, like, for the younger Minecraft players. I don't want to say you have to be 7 to enjoy it, but I think that those minigames can be really great, and they have, they would be really fun to optimize with a group of friends. I could see that being true, but just playing with strangers, they are no fun, whereas playing this, there are strangers in the game, but those strangers don't really impact you. They just maybe help with your discovery. It's so perfect in my opinion. I think the only thing missing from this actually would have to be a leaderboard of some form. Would have to be some way to actually, you know, save and store what you're getting, because I think that it's so cool in that way. Like this, by the way, that little parkour jump there, it's so hard, I could never get it. I've struggled for so long with it, and boom, just managed to nail it on the head first time here. This run is something I'm really proud of, by the way. We've got all the keys, we've got all of the chests open now, that's the last one, and now there's just 3 more coin piles for me to get, but I've got 77 seconds, so I start to use them for good things. And while we use these last 70 seconds as best we can, actually it's 80 seconds because there's another sand pile to be found, so while I use this 80 seconds as best I can to really maximize my score, let's kind of maximize my point in this video, which is to say that Minecraft should do this more often. I think the tiny addition of having a cape in here was actually a genius one, and I think people would hate if there was a cape for some weird co-branded event. Imagine if you got a Universal Studios cape. I think that wouldn't be so fun. I think maybe if you make it really fun to earn, it'd be good, but I think necessarily turning capes into this weird monetizable commodity would feel bad. I've spoken to Minecraft staff privately who have assured me, like, yeah, that's not the plan. No one thinks that they want to do this, and I'm really glad that that is something that multiple Minecraft people agree with and will, you know, like, die on the hill of. But something that I think is really important is Minecraft realizing this is a good idea, and this is a great way to add to, you know, while if Mojang had taken the summer off from development, and which is obviously one of the big things that ties the community together, having this big shared community space and maybe doing this more frequently would be great. Sure, they can do their events to promote the mob vote, or to promote any new games coming out, or even if they really have to, they can do them for other companies for weird events, you know, do an Inside Out 2 server or whatever they're feeling like. They can do these too, sure, if they want to, but the big ones that I think will excite people are when you can do this, when you have actual challenges, and if they can make these challenges more fun. If there was some actual in-game reason to collect a score this high, I think that that would also be something worth you thinking about for the future. Having more skill to the unlocking system would be a lot of fun, and having some way to use this giant pile of coins too. What am I meant to do with 22,000 coins, Mojang? I've been playing the server for too long. Anyway, those are just my ideas. I think this is great, and this video was kind of my love letter for Mojang actually nailing something. It's rare that we get to say Mojang did something as well as 4J Studios would have done it, and although you can kind of give the credit to Noxcrew on this one, I just love this, and I want to say, please Mojang, if you're on the fence about doing this more, please do. Having a special event which is actually fun and then gives you something you can take into the rest of the game is genius, and I think it's the one big thing missing from Legacy Console. If you could get a glide cape you could use for the regular Minecraft, or a battle minigame cape if you want a certain number of things, those would be really cool examples of a way to actually make that work. Anyway, with that said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you enjoyed my love letter to Sands of Time and this minigame server, because I hope we see them in the future and that they don't mess this up. Please don't do it. I love this Mojang, and I love you if you're watching this video. By the way, go buy a Longboy. It's only got a few days left. Make sure you get one before it's gone. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.